You ever know when you meet people that they kind of have a smell? You can kind of tell what they've eaten. Yeah. I actually had the privilege on Saturday of shaking hands with Mark Carney. Yeah, he came along and he said, "Hi, Duncan." And I don't know why, but I said to him, "I like garlic too." Yeah, I wonder if I'll have another chance to have a chat with him. When I started out in comedy, I did a show and it seemed to go quite well. And a lady named Janice came up to me afterwards and she asked me for my handle. And "What's a handle?" She walked away. So I called up my daughter, who has 10,000 followers on Instagram, big lifestyle thing. And I said, "What's a handle?" And she said, "Dad, if you're on stage, you need to have something so people can communicate with you." And so I went away and I came up with a handle, Ding Dong Duncan. Yeah. And I knew I was onto something. I knew I was onto something because I looked on Instagram and actually Ding Dong Duncan was taken. So I am Ding Dong Duncan _official. Had 2 followers, my mom and my dad. I had to set up my mom actually on Instagram, but my dad, I was amazed. He had 40 followers. And the strange thing was, they were all friends of my mother. I'm kind of wondering what he was doing with them after we went to bed at night. Yeah. I hope some of them could drive because my dad couldn't. So anyhow, I managed to get his 40 followers, and I thought, this is fantastic. But my parents are extremely old, and I think my mom's main social event is going to funerals these days. And she was kind of amazed. Sometimes I would know who had died before she did of her friends because I'd see them getting knocked off of the Instagram accounts. So I was losing followers every time my mom was socializing. Now I have actually 100 shorts on YouTube under Ding Dong Duncan. Please subscribe. I actually start recommending it to friends, and I tell them, look me up on YouTube, and I haven't heard from any of them since. But no, I have a dear friend, and he said he's going to binge watch my videos. And he watched 80 of my videos. I was so happy. And then he called me up and he goes, "What the hell?" I said, "What?" He said, "You told me that like 20% of them were funny." I said, "Well, obviously the last 20 that you haven't watched yet are going to be the good ones, right?" So let's just say amusing at this point, right? I have a friend here tonight. He came because he happens to be from out of town and he wants to stay overnight at my place. That's why he's here. And he's watched a few. On the way over here, he said, "I hope you're funnier in person than you are in your shorts." Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. I went to an open mic at the Kelowna Comedy Club, and after that I was so happy because the producer said, "Hey, I want you to come into our show the next night as one of Kelowna's top comics." I was thrilled. So I said, "Hey, Dad, you want to come out?" He came along, and he couldn't make it up the stairs to the second floor where the club was, so we had to go around the back. They didn't have an elevator, they just had this platform where they bring food and drinks up, all outside. And so my dad got himself on there and he was coming up the platform, and at the top of it there's a landing where everyone goes out there to smoke and have a drink. And as my dad's coming up to the landing area, he's waving as if he's a celebrity to everyone there. So we went into the show, had the show. I thought it went pretty well, and I said, "Dad, what did you think?" And he said, "It's hilarious." And you know how happy I was, how proud I was that he had said that. I said, "Dad, I am so happy that you enjoyed the show." And he goes, "You interrupted me." I said, "What?" He said, "You interrupted me." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "It's hilarious that you think you're funny." Yeah. It's amazing the support that you get from family and friends doing comedy, isn't it? After the show, I wanted to get 2 or 3 bottles of beer to celebrate what I thought was my success. And my dad said, buy a case. I said, you're kidding me, Dad. There's no way you're going to be able to drink a case of beer. He said, buy a case. Sleeman's Honey Brown Ale. I said, okay. So I went into the store, came back with the case, put it in the car, and he said, how much was it? I said, it was 24 bucks. And he slipped me a $20 bill. He'd stiffed me $4. And I told him, you stiffed me $4. And he said, well, if you're good, I'll share one with you. We did. We had a beer at home together. Unfortunately, after that, he got sick and he ended up in the hospital. And he was having trouble drinking, you know, when people get quite sick. And I was bringing a cup up to his lips and it was kind of dripping down his face, the water, as it was so parched. And he had his hands up, you know, in the cup. And he said to me, let go. I said, Dad, you know, oh my God, you know, if that's really where we are, then do let go. I said, you know, it's okay, you can let go. And he looked at me and he said, let go of the cup, I can hold it myself. Yeah. Eventually, just before he passed, he said, you know what, Dunk, I'm going to die laughing at how funny you think you are. A few months later, my mom said, I want you to clear out the storage room, because there's all kinds of Dad's old tools in there. We have a freezer and a fridge, all this stuff back there. So I said, okay, sure. So I was sorting everything out, you know, the good stuff to give to the nephews, garbage, all kinds of different things. And she said, and by the way, you can drink all the rest of the beer that's in the fridge. And sure enough, I opened the fridge and there were 10 cans of beer left. I was there for 10 days, so I drank one in honor every day for my dad. And then I came across this sort of shovel, and it said PetSmart on it. It was kind of a big silver shovel like you'd use for pet food. $4.99, but my mom didn't have a pet. And so I said, you know, what's this? So I guess we, you know, and I said, might as well just throw that away. She said, no. I said, well, what is it? What did you use it for? She said, oh, we use that for Dad's ashes, to spread his ashes around. I said, well, we don't need that anymore, do we? And Mom said, well, what about me? Don't waste $4.99, put that back on the shelf. I think they have a better sense of humor than I do. Thank you very much.